Welcome to the Seer Show. Join us as we dive into the dynamic world of health, wellness, mindset, and fitness with the unparalleled guidance of lifelong knowledge seekers, Sifu Rafael and Nikki Gangemi. Sifu and Nikki will unlock groundbreaking insights with extraordinary guests from around the globe. You'll get the latest holistic approaches to well-being with a sharp focus on the powerful connection between mind, body, and soul. Get ready to take the leap. It's time to embrace a brighter and healthier future with us at the Seer Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Nikki. How are you?
Good morning, Sifu. I'm excellent. And how are you doing?
I am exceptional and getting better every day.
Yes, I wait to hear that,
I got to tell you, I was watching the introduction video and then something occurred to me. At the end of that, there was a bridge, right, between two places. And we're only a bridge away, aren't we?
We certainly are. Yes. I don't know which bridge, but we're a bridge away.
Oh, don't worry. Probably the George Washington. We'll figure it out. I'm excited for today. What becomes possible? And we have three truly, truly exceptional human beings joining us. Let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead. Let's start bringing them in. So here we go. Reden, Lisa, and Nancy coming on. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
What becomes possible? That is a possible answer that can go in so many different ways.
Yes.
Who'd like to take that on first?
I'll take it.
Perfect.
I think when you think about all the things in life that you can do, not what you can't, that many things become possible no matter what your limitations might be. For me, after an accident on Mount Kilimanjaro, I spent 15 years lying down in chronic pain with a pile of opioids next to me on a bedside table. And I thought my life might be over. But it took hitting rock bottom for me to realize that focusing on everything I couldn't do, which was moving around vertically in the world and walking and sitting like other people, I could focus on the things I could do, and that was to use my brain. And I decided I would go back to graduate school, and I decided I would do it lying down instead of sitting up, instead of walking around, and re-entering the world after 15 years horizontally, focusing on the positives within those limitations, focusing on my brain and the fact that I could still learn was the key to making everything else in my life purposeful and making it possible. So that's my what becomes possible.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I got to tell you, if you need to hear the most incredible story I've heard in a long time, you need to listen to Nancy's story. And guess what? She was on Coaching Call with me, and we discussed her story. So if you ever get a chance, go to my YouTube and listen to her story. It's there. Powerful, powerful. Who'd like to take the next one? Thank you, Nancy.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that question. I think there's so many ways to think about it, but we were using the word when we were talking just before the show, the word agency, right? And what becomes possible really requires this sense of agency. I usually approach this question in the context of the workplace, but my own story about what becomes possible is one about lots of different career pivots of really, despite, there's a saying, be careful what you're good at, right? And I found myself early on in a job that I was good at. I had told myself I would be in for 3 years to pay off student loans, was in for 10 years and when my 4-year-old called me and left a message on my voicemail because I had pulled an overnighter at the office and said, "Mommy, come home. We need a mommy, not a lawyer." It was time for a career pivot, and it was time for, instead of waiting for the right window to get out of there, to really take agency and have a pivot to another career. And then when it became clear that the next opportunity was to work with my mother and help take her business in a different or an additional direction, help her grow that business, able to pivot there and take agency and really figure out, what could this look like? How can we make this work despite other challenges? So for me, it's really about thinking about the intersection of where's opportunity and how can we take control of it and steer it in a different direction.
Love that. Love that. Mommy, we need a mommy, not a lawyer. Wow. That's
Yeah,
so
it's the best, worst gift ever. I keep saying it was so painful to hear and so important in my own life's path.
I can only, your heartstrings were like pulled at that point.
Right.
But you know what? Sometimes it takes someone else to point out the obvious.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a 4-year-old. So congratulations for having such a powerful and extraordinary child at home.
Well, it's only gotten better as she's gotten older.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Reden, love to get your take on it.
Yeah, I think for me, sometimes we're kind of like our own worst enemies. Like we get in our own way at times, right? And just to go back to what Lisa was saying, for me, transitioning out after 21 years in the military, um, military taught me a lot about discipline, but it didn't really teach me about being more intentional with my time. And so with fatherhood, Sifu, I met Sifu earlier this month, at the
Like
Virginia
2
Beach
weeks ago or
Mastermind.
something.
Yeah, yeah. And, got to meet my kids. And, for me, I had a new mission. It was about being more intentional with the people that matter to me. And, at this phase in my life, is obviously with 2 young kids who are special needs, uh, helping out in the day to day, with appointments and therapies and things like that. Um, that was the biggest transition and change for me. So yeah, being more in alignment with what matters to me, and being more intentional with my time.
Yeah, yeah. I gotta, thank you for your service. I believe you were Navy, right?
Yeah, Navy.
Yeah. And my God, it's such a beautiful family. I was able to actually hold one of your daughters, and it felt so good because you can feel her heart, right? And for a young child to want to be held by me, I'm like, oh my God, that's a gift. So that was a beautiful gift that I received, and thank you for that. Love meeting the family.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Nikki, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are, I love what becomes possible, because for so long I lived by, it's not possible for me. That was the tape in my head. And that informed my decision. So when I went after the dream, because I was a dreamer, interestingly enough, to go pursue the acting career, it was the it's not possible that led to my decision to walk away and go back home and then to become a teacher. And it was not until sometime in my 30s that I was dating this guy that I thought was the guy. He wasn't, but he said something that put me on a different trajectory. And that was, when there's something that you want in life, you don't wait for opportunity to come, you pave the way. And that's when I started thinking in terms of what's possible. And that was the shift that led to leaving the teaching career and jumping into entrepreneurship, which has been a fun ride.
I love that. I gotta say, for me, when I think of this, I have to say I become possible.
Ooh.
So I got to think of me, of my life, of my actions, of my every morning, because I choose how to live my life. So the possibilities are with me. I cannot rely on somebody else to hand me something that I want. Don't get me wrong, I will take all the gifts. But in reality, it's my actions that allow me to become possible. So I think of me when I think of the possibility of becoming, because it's every action I take, every action I don't take, because every inaction is also a decision. So
Mhm.
my decisions form me. And so let's continue. I love this topic.
Yeah.
Seems to me
21
it's like,
years. Go ahead,
yeah,
Nancy,
no, I was
Lisa,
just,
and then we'll get to talk about 21 years committed to serving, right? So let's go, Lisa.
no, I was just thinking like it's almost like we don't even know what becomes possible. When you think when you're open to what possibility is, you kind of allow the unfolding in a way that it's almost too trite to say the impossible becomes possible, but what's true is you can't even know what becomes possible if you allow yourself to be open to it, right? If you stay too rigid to what you imagine possibility is, look, life gets in the way, and you know, Nancy and Reden have talked about both of these things, neither of which they expected or even asked for. But when you allow yourself to the possibility, when you allow yourself to be open to what's possible, you can really deal with and shape that possibility into something that's, you know, beautiful and generating and attracting other things that are possible that you wouldn't even have known about. I'm sorry to have interrupted you.
No, hey, don't be sorry. I say cut me off. It's okay. We don't know what the possibilities are unless we sometimes cut people off, right? Um, because we have a thought, and sometimes that has to come out. And actually, I'm the one that cut you off because you were starting to talk, and I kind of cut you off. So look at that. We're both apologetic. And the possibility of being kind to one another, we should never take that for granted. So, Redden, 21 years serving,
Yeah.
that really changed you in so many different ways. Would you mind sharing?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, serving for over 21 years, it's made me who I am today, right? It's taught me military has taught me a lot of things. I mentioned discipline earlier. Structure has given me more responsibility about what the mission, how to execute. Um, for me, though, after I transitioned out last June, just over a year ago, I've learned that you can still be disciplined and still be misaligned in a way, you know. Um, for leaders or high performers, what's kind of like our default solution to everything is like, oh, I need to do this more. I need to do this more, right? Work harder. I need to be more disciplined. But sometimes that's not the answer. Sometimes you need to stop, reset, and realign yourself. Am I climbing the right mountain to Nancy's story, right? Am I in the right mountain that I should be climbing, or should I be going this way? So um yeah, that was kind of like the big transition for me, is just prioritizing and just being more intentional to what matters most in this stage in my career. So
You know, I think Ren's experience is so true, even for people who've had different careers. I think discipline and perseverance and endurance and pushing harder are all the qualities that our culture valorizes and what we're trained to do growing up and into adulthood. And we think that that's the only way. And I know for me, that was very much my high achieving life in Silicon Valley and the way that I thought I would get to the top. But it took really falling into a deep, dark health pit before I realized that maybe the strategies that serve you in one phase of life, like discipline and endurance and working harder than everybody else, might actually be harming you in another. And you got to really pay attention to what your body and your mind are telling you, because they might be telling you that you need to take a different approach.
That's so
100%.
powerful.
I love that. It's funny. I started doing yoga relatively recently, and they say in yoga, there's like the pose at the end, which is shavasana, which is where you just kind of lie there. They call it corpse pose. And every yoga teacher will tell you it's the most important part of the yoga practice. And my constitution doesn't necessarily believe that. I too am a constant activity, and productivity is the thing that you should be striving for. And so every time, for the first few times I did yoga, I would skip shavasana, or I would sit in it for 10 seconds and then all right, the class is over, let's go. And it wasn't until I really realized that just the stopping and letting all of that pushing and striving and endurance and discipline pay off and catch up with you, so that you can do the recovery and you can do the stopping, is so important. And it's really is transformational for those of us who are, which sounds like all of us, who are strivers, who are trained that we need to be doing and pushing.
I think growth comes when you let go.
Mhm.
I used to teach power yoga, right? And my favorite pose was always child's pose. And if you think about that, right? When you think about a child, they really they don't hold on to so much junk that we do as adults. They let things go. I mean, one minute they're crying for I want ice cream. The next minute it's like, hey, can I color? And all of a sudden they forgot they want ice cream, or they didn't want to color because, hey, can I watch this or can I do that? And all of a sudden they let go, and they're so easy to move on to the next subject, to the next thing, that they don't hold on to things. So if you think about, that's why I like child's pose, right? Because it's an easy, and your body's actually just chilling, and it's relaxing. So when you think about children, we can learn so much by observing their actions, the way they handle things, the fact that they're the best negotiators in the world. Um, so yeah, I Child's Pose always did it for me. Still does, by the way.
I love that metaphor, Sifu, that you gave, because for many people, letting go sounds easy, but it's really hard. And I could speak for myself, but I just saw that you can use child's pose as a tool. You can do child's pose because that's pretty easy and it feels really good. And you can say to yourself, I'm in the process of letting go. I'm the kind of person who lets go. And you can start with that, and then you can build that story and let go with some of the harder things.
There's almost a second piece to it too, which is this idea of a beginner's mindset, right? I love what you're saying, Sifu, about child pose. There's some great books, and I'll think of the title before we're done if your listeners want to see it. But about this idea of being a beginner again. When you think about children who are, early on, you get them into every activity, right? Ballet and soccer and I don't know, taekwondo and math club and all of the things. And it doesn't matter that they stink at it. But somehow when we become adults, we are so reluctant to start something with a beginner's mindset and feel like it's okay to stink at it. And to get through that learning curve, so I love using the metaphor of child's pose too, as this beginner's mindset of let's be open to the messy beginning piece as well.
That's how I start my day. What could I learn today? What don't I know? That's why one of my favorite words in the English language is yet. I don't know that yet, but
Yeah.
give me time and I will conquer it. And for me, it's drawing on walls. It's yes, I do make murals, but it's the concept of before I draw on the wall, maybe I have to draw it on paper. Maybe I have to take a pen, right, or a pencil and sketch it out. And it's okay if I make a mistake because guess what? There's another paper I can use, or I can erase it. I can keep going. I can make mistakes. And I love the beginner's mindset because sometimes we take ourselves way too serious to allow us to make a mistake. And I think when we make mistakes, we learn. And so many people are afraid to learn because they don't want to make the mistake.
I
Yeah, I
think we
think
really only learn from the failures, to be honest. And I think you have to be really bad at something before you can be good at something. I mean, I'm a writer, so I know I have days when it just flows and I feel like I'm on fire. And then there are other days when I know it's all garbage, but I know I have to just keep doing it and keep at it every day if I want to get any better. So I really respect that beginner's mindset. I think it's absolutely true. And I think we have to be more honest about the mess because everybody experiences it.
I think we're talking about failure. There's a book John Maxwell wrote, "Failing Forward," one of my favorite books. Um, like to kind of summarize it, like, are we failing or have we learned from it? Like, it's only failure if you don't learn, right, from the lesson. And so, um, yeah, to your point, a lot of people for some reason are afraid to get uncomfortable and step out of their comfort zone. And so when they're afraid, they deny themselves of that possibility, right, of what could happen if you do succeed. And so, you know, we just have to realize, wherever direction we're at right now, it doesn't have to be that final destination, right? So
It's the journey that matters, right?
the journey, for sure.
Nancy, I love what you talked about because when we think about, we write, right? And you guys know I'm writing while we're doing all this stuff, so I am taking notes, and I'm an avid note taker. Sometimes I'll write it on anything, and I'm going to show you that I'm not just kidding because this is an envelope I got for some invitation, and I'm writing all over it. So I do this on anything that if I let it go, it's going to be gone. And so, yes, guess what? There's a ton of mistakes here. There's a ton of ideas, concepts. This is an envelope. I didn't even open it because it's a vacation club, and I don't need to belong to a vacation club because I take vacation whenever I want. This is why I'm an entrepreneur. I take it whenever I want. I have to belong to a club. I don't have to wait for somebody to tell me when to go. I decide when to go. But I thought, hey, guess what? They send me writing paper. Whoop, whoop. And so for me, writing is such freedom. And I love what you talked about, that sometimes you're on fire and other times you're ice cold, but you still write. And that's the thing, because even in the ice cold moments, fire will ignite that heat, right?
There's something about showing up, whether you're showing up for yourself or you're showing up for somebody else, just being present, staying in the moment, keeping at it, that gives you the ability to maybe break through because you never know when it's going to happen.
That's it right there. This is a moment of silence for those of you who want to think.
One thought that I had while people were talking was, I think it was you, Sifu, that mentioned you could think about what's possible, or, it was about focus is how I understood it. And it brought me back to yoga class, because there's some poses that are uncomfortable, so much so that I've gotten a wave of nausea. And then in that moment, I decided to put my focus onto my calves because they felt fine. And it was almost like I didn't feel the discomfort that I was so focused on before. So there's a real power in, are we focused on what's not possible and all the reasons and excuses for why something can't happen? Or can we move our focus to what is possible and what's another option? It's really so powerful.
It is when you start. I teach movement every single day of my life. I teach it. I do it. I'm in it. But the beauty about movement, especially physical movement of your own, is accepting what you have and working with what you have and expanding on what you have and getting stronger through the process, getting more flexible, more in depth. The breath is also such an important aspect. This is why yoga is one of the greatest things that you can give your body. I teach kung fu, I teach qigong, I teach heigong, I teach neigong, I teach tai chi, I teach movement, I teach boxing, I teach so many different things. Everything has to do with one concept. You, you, you are you're the main ingredient in anything. But if you don't step into it, you will never acknowledge the beauty inside.
It's really about stopping long enough to listen and hear it, right? I mean, this goes back to what the topic that Reden introduced of just like to stop the striving and the constant. It's like you can't really hear what you need when you're in constant movement.
Yes. Meditation.
Sometimes we need to reset and realign, right? To what's our priorities right now, what matters most right now. You know, and it's okay to change course, right? Realign to what matters to you. So,
Like you did, Redden, because you said my family matters. And you said, this is my next venture, my family, right? So
yeah.
kudos to you. And so many people, the signs are on the wall. The signs are everywhere. Forget the wall, the ceiling, the floor, everywhere, around the corner. Yet they keep avoiding the signs because when we actually listen, there's there's a word that I love with listen. It's silent because if you take the same two words and guess what, they all have the same exact letters. Silent and listen occupy the same letters, and you cannot listen if you're not silent. Because when I speak, I learn nothing. But when you speak, I'm all ears. Like now.
You
I
know,
think,
sometimes I think that the key to listening is actually listening even longer. I mean, when my friends said to me, "What can I do for you?" when I wasn't well, I thought, just bear witness, just listen, but listen longer so you're really hearing what I'm telling you. Because the answer to how are you is too complicated to even begin if you're not listening. So listen longer. That's mine.
I like that. Yeah.
Nancy, what comes up for me when you say that is, I'm in the mentoring space, so I work with organizations and talk to them about how to create good mentoring relationships and good mentoring programs and things like that. And I recently wrote an article about the best question a mentor can ask, which is not a question that I came up with. It's from the work of Michael Bungay Stanier, but it's the awe question, AWE, and what else? And what else? And what else? It's actually not a question that reflects your knowledge. It reflects and invites expansiveness, right? And what else? And what else? That's the best question that a mentor can ask a mentee. It's not to share what their experience is. It's to help draw out what the experience of the person whom they're mentoring is. So thanks for that, spurring that thought.
Yeah, I love that. It's like, tell me more about that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that you brought up mentoring, Lisa, because I think as a leader, one of the biggest dangers that we can have is like being in isolation or being on our own, where we think that we have to carry everything, right, or on our own, or figure it out ourselves, right? Accountability isn't something that someone controlling your decisions. I think every leader needs somebody that you can be accountable to, right? It's about having that people in your life who can tell you, "Hey, come back this way. You know, you're going in the wrong direction." Right? Mentoring and coaching, having that accountability partner,
Yeah. And
even
not just
somebody.
one.
No, not just one, many.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think a lot of us grew up thinking we could be a lone wolf, thinking we could do it all ourselves. I certainly did. I mean, I entered the business world thinking I could lead all on my own, and you realize that interdependence is everything. And today, if you don't know how to collaborate and you don't know how to be on a team, what are you doing in business? I think that it's depending on each other and needing each other that really makes us human anyway.
It's funny because, I can remember early on in my career being super ambitious and asking a lot of people, like, what do I need to do in order to get ahead? And they would say, like, just put your head down, just be so good at what you do, and people are going to notice, right? It's the field of dreams promise, and it's baloney. Because the truth is, like, we need other people. It's not
mhm.
just be so good. It's just be so open and create the relationships that you need in order to excel and innovate and stop and listen and all of those things.
A mentor of mine many, many years ago said, there's 5 or 7 questions I'm going to ask you. And they all started with why. And then after that, it was and how. And tell me more. And how are you going to do it? And why? And it was basically those were it. And it was like you talked about, Lisa, it's drawing out that which is in us, and we don't know how to share it until we have to answer those. When, why, how, and what am I going to do about it? And so it's, if you think about it, and I go back to children because children ask you 1,000 questions. Why is the sky blue? Why is the grass growing like that? Why is that guy walking that way? Why is the dog doing that? Why is this? Why is that? Why? And so many people get tired of the kids saying why. Say, stop saying why. And I'm the opposite. I'm like, keep asking. Come on, let's go. Keep giving me more. And so when I'm teaching children, um, the parents are in the room, and I say to the parents, I said, do me a favor. Never quiet your whys from your children. Always allow them to keep asking, because curiosity comes from asking. If we quiet them, they won't have that. And we need that in the world. We need to know why. Why does this work? Why is this happening? How did it happen? Who is involved? All these things. So I love the fact that we have to come back to, I think, our childhood and ask a million questions. And for those people who get tired of us asking questions, guess what? Somebody else is there that you can ask them a question. Go to the next person. Don't get stuck with one person who doesn't want to answer your questions. Go to somebody else.
It's good to be curious and to lead from curiosity. I use the word wonder a lot, and I use it so much around my little nephew. He's 4 years old, that I got him saying, and he goes, I wonder. It gets him into just curiosity, which is a gift for so many of us, to lead to what's possible, what can be possible.
I think
I'm
when you're,
especially,
I think when you're curious, that leads to more awareness, right? Where am I actually? Where not where I think I am, but where do I need to be or intend to be? So curiosity creates awareness, because you can't change intentionally if you're not unwilling, if you're unwilling to acknowledge, where you're at right now. So
Absolutely. Well, let me get you guys curious about something that we're building. Take a look.
Let's get after this. Hey, hey. Leadership isn't a title. Hey. Pressure makes leaders. Unified leadership. Hey, unified leadership.
Pressure makes leaders. Fire reveals truth. Forged in the struggle, built to break through. Unified leadership. We stand when it's hard. Different voices, one vision. Together we spar. Built through connection, stronger as one. Changing tomorrow by what we've begun.
Unified leadership. Feel the fire ignite. When leaders unite, the future burns bright. Sifu, Rafael, with the vision and voice. Built through discipline, pressure and choice. Coach T.O. Clay, battle tested and tried, turning trials into purpose, helping leaders rise. Pressure
Doesn't break you.
it reveals you.
Wow, pressure does reveal you.
I love that song, man.
Yeah.
Pumped up.
I got to tell you, we have so much fun creating stuff like that. And when we think about leadership, when we think about the way, and even when it said pressure creates leaders, pressure creates ideas. I think pressure also helps create possibility, right? Think about a pressure cooker. What's the possibility when you know there's a pressure cooker? A good meal, hopefully. A good meal.
I love the notion of unified too, that was just in that piece, just the idea that leadership doesn't happen alone and that it's not going to be ignited by one person, but maybe a common vision that many people share. So it sounds like an exciting initiative and certainly something that anybody leading in today's business understand is critical to try to achieve a common purpose.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for acknowledging that. What is the common purpose of possibility?
Breakthrough, achieving new goals, doing something you haven't done before, maybe trying something new. I mean, possibility is the most open-ended opportunity that you can think of. So it means all of those things to me.
Yeah, same to me. I think, I have that 4-year-old just graduated from college. And, as so I've been thinking a lot about kind of careers and possibility, lately. And I think what's one of the things that's so exciting, I may have a delay, so I'm sorry if my,
You're good. Keep
screen's
going.
catching up with me. Okay. Is the fact that like when think about like what's their career going to be? It is the fact that there is so much possibility. Like we don't even know 2, 3, 4 years from now what kind of opportunities are going to be available. And so being willing to be at the forefront, right? Being willing to try and to innovate. And I think the benefit of her having 2 parents who are entrepreneurs is, understanding that we can assume risk, right? And try things. And if they fail, to Reden's point, before, it's just something that you learn from and go on with. To me, that embracing possibility in that way is what's so exciting. That we don't even know. Possibility to me is innovation and it's growth and it's creating new things and hopefully fixing some of the mess that we've created for ourselves in thinking that we need to have some certainty.
For me, what becomes possible, better relationships, more meaningful leadership. Personally, have greater presence. It's kind of like we all have our own definition of success, right? And so For me, that's what becomes possible. Having those better relationships with my kids and my wife, being more present here at home, and just having that more meaningful leadership. So,
I love that, Reden, because I think for so many people, success is purely in the professional realm. It's purely about what you achieve in that company that you're running. And I think we need to be open to redefining what success looks like, because it's going to be different for each of us. It depends on the people that we love. It depends on the people around us. It depends on where we are. It depends on the stage of our life. But we have to open up that definition to embrace many more possibilities than just that straight line career trajectory that everybody expects, because it's just not realistic.
100%.
Sometimes it's taking that first step, right? And that first step is going to give you what the possibilities are, but we won't know until we take that first step. Right?
I think sometimes you need to start before you're even ready. You need to take the first step even when you don't know where it's going. I mean, I remember when I applied to grad school and I couldn't sit up, my first thought was I have to defer and I have to wait until I'm, quote, normal again and I can sit like everybody else. And then I thought, I could be waiting forever. That may never happen. But what's possible is that I can fashion an army cot that I can cart into a classroom and set it up in a minute and blow up an inflatable raft to lie down on. And that's possible. And I can do that now. And so that became the first step. And sometimes it takes that unknowing first step before you even know where the path is going to be.
That took courage. And so sometimes taking that first step is courage, right?
Oh, absolutely. Even if you're terrified.
Yeah. It made, Nancy, when you were talking, it made me think that even when we didn't know how to walk, we still took steps and fell down and took more steps and eventually learned. So yeah, just start by taking a step and you'll learn as you keep taking one step at a time.
Absolutely, Nikki.
I love that you brought that up, because I've never seen a kid go, you know what, this walking thing, it's not for me. I'm just going to fall around the rest of my life. It's not for me. I'm not going to do it. Oh, I just fell again. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired of falling. No, they're like, wait a minute. You mean that person is moving really fast? You mean I can learn to run too? I'm going for it. So yeah. So when we think about, we are taught that we should not give up. Then we get older and we start to give up. What's that about? Why are we giving up? When we understood success at an early age, and when we get older in our years, we go, no, I can't do this. What's that about?
Sometimes I think we have two choices. We think we can fight, which all of us know how to do. We know how to fight and battle through something. And we also think we know we can surrender, we can give up, we can quit. But I think there's a third choice, and that's just, giving in enough to understand reality. And that's more about accepting what's true, what's real, and then growing within that possibility, whatever that might be, whether it's a physical limitation, an emotional limitation, a geographical limitation, it doesn't matter. But acceptance, I think, is the third way.
I love
that
that.
has to do with mindset.
Yeah, I mean, that's sort of where my head was going, Sifu, when you asked the question as well, is almost to reframe what the question is, because I do think that sometimes we think giving up is a bad thing, but I'm actually, I think with age comes the wisdom of knowing when it's time to try something else, or knowing when this path that we've been striving in isn't the right path to step into the next one. Or combining, doing, stay on this path, but doing it differently. Right. So giving up, to me, here we are in the society of never quit. I didn't raise a quitter, or quitting is a bad thing. I don't know. Maybe what if we thought about it differently? And sometimes quitting is what you need to do to be open to something else.
Yeah. I think there's a definitely big difference with quitting and giving up. I think it's just awareness. Going back to our point earlier, being curious creates that awareness, right? Hey, am I in the right path right now? Am I climbing that mountain, the right mountain, or do I need to change course and focus on something else? So shifting directions doesn't necessarily mean that you've given up, right? It's just a new direction that you got to go into.
Nobody ever said life had to be linear. I mean, I think you said it well, Reden.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
and you all kind of touched on it, that giving up is not giving yourself up. It's giving opportunity for something else to take over. And with that said, unfortunately, we are at the end of the show. So what we'd love to give everybody is about 45 seconds. So Lisa, we'll have you go first, and we're going to put your link across the bottom. And then this way somebody can follow you. And why would they want to connect with you anyways? Because I want to connect with you.
Well, I look forward to connecting with you, Sifu. So, I guess my takeaway from this is really, I think, Nancy's last comment. Things aren't linear, and I think to me, that's the excitement of technology. That's the excitement of the next generation. Is that there's new possibilities that we're not even aware of, and we just have to stop long enough to be open to it. And then, just to answer the other question, is I work with executives and leaders and organizations who are looking to bring more wisdom and possibility through mentoring and other developmental relationships in the workplace. So look forward to connecting with anyone who's interested in those topics.
Just say out because this also will go on audio. So say out your website.
My website. Yeah. You can connect with me at www.lisazfain.com. That's Z like zebra. lisazfain.com.
And Fain is Fain. So thank you.
Fain.
Fain. Yes, thank you. Nancy, you're up, my dear.
Yeah, so I today have taken a new turn from my Silicon Valley life, and I write and speak about resilience and identity and how to move forward after your life is turned upside down. If people want to connect with me, I would welcome it at my website, www.nancydeo.com.
Love it. And Reden, you're up, my friend.
Yeah, thank you, Nikki, for having me. Everybody can connect with me on LinkedIn, Reden Dionisio, or you can go to my website, Reden Dionisio, REDENDIONISIO.com. Connect with me there. I work with leaders, executives who are successful professionally, but also are wanting to stop drifting in their personal life where it matters most. So.
Thank you. And the famous Nikki.
Thank you, Sifu. And I'm Nikki Gangemi, and I help successful professionals move from I should to decisive action. I help them with the 6 inches between their ears, because that's often the biggest distance between you and the result that you want in life. So helping you to change what's in there so you can go after what you want with courage and confidence. And you can connect with me at nikkigangemi.com. That's NIKKIGANGEMI.com. Thank you. I turn it over to you, Sifu.
Thank you. Do me a favor, everybody, connect with these incredible human beings, because you will be well served, I'm sure. So I'm easy to find, right? SifuRafael.com. It's SIFURAFAEL.com. And I work with all kinds of incredible human beings. I have a school community. I have a speaking academy. I do a lot of different things in order to help you understand your worth. So I do work with everybody who is looking to inspire the world, because together we can change it. We can make it better. Thank you, everybody. Do us a favor. Share this episode with somebody who needed today's messages. Because guess what? We don't know what the possibilities are unless we share. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
Thank you.